Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, and thank you for stopping by once again. I'm going to try to do this as quickly as I can. I don't want to take up a lot of your time, but let's roll through it. Last time I talked to you about Bocas del Toro and how it was in the far northwestern corner of the country. There'd been a lot of trouble there. There had been not violence against people, but against property. Things had gotten completely out of hand, and it was put back in shape and done in a very civilized manner, and it's been taken care of. And I think everybody agrees they had every reason in the world to be angry and upset because they are ignored because it is too far away from the city, and people forget they're even there sometimes because they're so hard to get to by road, especially during the rainy season. And yet there are a couple 100,000 or so of them living up there, and it would be they're Panamanians for God's sake. So this is a hard reminder, but it was, I think, a necessary one that you can't let problems just build up there and build up and build up and not do something about them. And the local politicians failed too, obviously. So there's been a really sharp criticisms going on, but they're sitting down with Chiquita Banana and they're seeing if they can work something out. Okay, that's where we go. We recognize that most of the banana workers up there are 7,000 whose jobs are on the line. Uh, they need this. And there was stuff had been going on that was not right. It should not have gone on, to boil it down to. And the central government acted as if they weren't there. So now we act as if they're there. Good. Okay, so that's being taken care of. The other protests from the other unions just about died out. One of the unions was sued by its own membership for misuse of funds. And although it sounds like it's going to be a fascinating, very interesting lawsuit because of what happened, how it was done. But anyhow, that pretty much well, rendered that particular union, Suntrax, the one that's the most controversial in the country, always has been, pretty weak. And the head of Saul Mendez, the head of that union, is in Bolivia, where he sought haven. Okay, there's that, and then the teachers' unions. That was a different ball of wax. I'm not about to get involved with any sort of discussion of whether teachers are well paid or not, and so on. But in some areas, this is particularly difficult, especially in the provinces. And so I didn't, I understood why they were doing what they were doing, but what happened is they kept on and on and on and on, demanding impossible things they could not get and were told they just couldn't get them by everybody who was concerned. And that was everybody in the National Assembly and elsewhere. No, you can't do that. But they insisted it had to be done, or they weren't coming back. Well, they're being replaced. I mean, they weren't paid. The first step was they didn't pay them when they didn't show up to work, and then when they made it clear that they weren't going to show up for work as long as it was necessary to get the National Assembly to go through the entire Social Security thing all over again, which is not going to happen, that they were released, fired. And there are plenty of people who need the jobs. So uh, it's too bad. Hey, but that's how these things work. And those unions had to learn that there are just, when you don't have the parents on your side, you're in trouble. Okay, moving along, the National Assembly just went through its elections. There are 71 members. It's a one-house legislature. There's no other than that one. They elect a president of the assembly. This is the end of the first of the 5-year term. And so at this point, they will do an election for the coming year of a National Assembly president. That person has a considerable amount of influence over where legislation goes and how it's dealt with and so forth. So it's an important position. The winner got 37 votes and the loser got 34. So it shows you that it was a very tight race and no one could be absolutely sure what was going to happen until it was over. It's over. And the man who, technically speaking, the ones who won are the opposition. And this doesn't really make any sense at all. You have to know, it's like we have several parties in the national legislature. there was a mixture of people who voted for one candidate. There was a mixture of people who voted for the other candidate. So it was really more on the candidates than anything else. And the winner of it gave one of the best speeches I think I've heard in a long time, and that he, I mean, it was exactly a Panamanian speech, which is basically reach out, and we are going to do this together, and we have great respect for you and your opinions too, and everyone's going to get fair treatment, and together we are going to clean up this corruption. We're going to get things done. Blah, blah, blah. He did it in a very calm, direct, intelligent, and very serious manner that drew everybody's attention, at least mine, and I know a number of other people as well. It was a breath of fresh air from a politician these days. And the president also spoke to the National Assembly when it had its business attended to, and congratulated the winner and so forth. He also gave an excellent speech, a summary of where we'd been and where he hoped we would go. That he was ready and willing to compromise and to work with everybody in the assembly, all parties, regardless of who they were and who they'd voted for the presidency was not important. He did put in one statement, the many things that had happened. He said, not 1 millimeter of territory in the Republic of Panama have we given up our sovereignty. No, no way. So just in case you ever hear anybody say that, think otherwise, they are wrong. And he meant it. He said it from the beginning. He has pounded it into people's heads. He will say it to anybody who comes down. Anybody. We don't give up sovereignty, period. The canal is ours. All right? So that was, of course, very much in line with what the assembly feels. Fine. And the country feels, for that matter. So on we go. And I have to say, on each of the issues that they discussed and the personalities and so forth, I don't have anything to say on that. What impressed me was the maturity of the delegates, many of whom are young, and they were the first time to be delegates. I think maybe the majority of members were first-time members. If not, it was darn close. And I've been watching anyhow, the new crowd, the reformers, the independents, what have you, make their mistakes, do their things that people do in these situations when they're brand new to something like this, and they come in, riding a wave of emotion, and then they have to get down to the actual business of governing or assisting in the governance, and they're good. They've grown up. I mean, they have. I mean, really. They're refreshing to hear them talk, and even to hear them argue is it's open, it's right out there in front, and people talk and so on. But they have respect for each other, and wow, yeah, people actually still do that. I think it's wonderful. So that takes care of that. Our real estate market continues pretty much as is. We're having an increase in Americans coming down. We will be showing improvements in our economy here. We already are, but I'll leave that for a little later. But the one thing that sort of popped out was the Henley and Partners came out with they deal with millionaires. That's just people who have from $1 million to $99 million of investment money available or something. Then the centimillionaires, which go from $100 million to $999 million, as are called centimillionaires, and then finally they're the billionaires. And on the basis of all this and numbers and this and that, it's all guesswork on their part. They may be educated guesses. They may do better than certainly I could, but they're not absolute figures. Although what they say is that we're in one of the 10 fastest growing markets for the wealthy to visit and to move to. And Costa Rica's always been there in the past, but now here we are, and we're definitely there too. I'll tell you the key thing right there, and I'll move on with other stuff. You have to look at other things than just the numbers or the background noise, so to speak. There are a couple offices of Henley has in the Caribbean, St. Kitts and Nevis, places that provide citizenship for a price to wealthy people and so on. So that's understandable. And then Henley and Partners has offices in the United States and Canada. Yeah. They also have them in Brazil and Mexico, who combined population happens to be almost identical to the United States. So it's like having two Americas. But Brazil and Mexico have, again, they have offices there. Only one other nation does, and it's Panama. All right? If there's ever a good reason to see us as the hub, so to speak, the place to go when you want to cover an entire region, here you are, right? So that's encouraging, and thank you, Henry, for that, for having an office down here. So if you're fabulously wealthy, you may want to go in and chat with them at some point. They seem to be very nice people. We like them. Now, that is that. And I'm currently working on the report from Panama that I'll be releasing in July. I know we're already in July. It's not going to come this week, but I still have one report I very much would like to have. I did get another that I didn't expect to get in time. It did come in. I'm going to get it done. But everyone knows how slow I can be. And I won't do it until I know I have what I want and I need and I know what I want to say and I feel comfortable with it. It's been very challenging under circumstances this last year. But I think I'm ready for that. I'm looking forward to it. And I'm looking forward to more time talking to you. Thank you for stopping by. And I look forward to talking to you again.